greater than him because he was true Namacharya.
Very good. So, Namacharya, Idas Thakur attract. Any Matajis apart from the children? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj.
Okay.
So how, when he got the curse, as Prabhuji said, he didn't protest, and he instead took it as an opportunity to go closer to God and realize the purpose of life.
Very good, very good. Wonderful, wonderful examples, right? Yeah. Now, think of a spiritual person who you have known in your life, whose association example created a strong inspirational impression. Share with a different person sitting near you, right? So we'll skip this exercise. We are all inspired by Srila Prabhupada. We are all inspired by Srila Prabhupada. Amidst so many obstacles, he went on executing devotional service. Right? He went on executing devotional service. Personally, I'm touched when we see that video of the final days, right? Where he's on the bed and he's still dictating Srimad Bhagavatam, right? The final days of his life, but he's still dictating Srimad Bhagavatam. So that consciousness, right, that completely fixed in the service of the Lord, right? That's Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. So now, in chanting, we all know that there are 10 offenses to chant the holy name of the Lord, right? Every day we recite those 10 offenses. But what is the root offense from which all these 10 offenses arise? Inattentive chanting, right? Pramada, it's mentioned. Inattentive chanting. What are the examples of inattentive chanting? Multitasking, all right. Electronic gadgets, okay. What about electronic gadgets?
Cell phone, playing and watching TV, whatever.
Okay, watching TV and chanting, all right. Okay, driving and chanting, all right. Inattentive chanting. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting, or reading newspaper and chanting, right? Or reading anything and chanting, right? Sitting in the class and chanting, wonderful, yeah. Sitting in the class and chanting, taking prasadam and chanting, right? Not hearing properly and chanting. Yeah, these are various examples of inattentive chanting, right? What happens during that time, right? Just like a plant is nourished by water, right? If it is not given water, what will happen to the plant? It will start withering away. The leaves will start withering away. Similarly, here, in the holy name itself, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu, Pedashamrita says, in the holy name itself, the form of the Lord is there, right? The pastimes of the Lord is there, right? The qualities of the Lord is there. Everything is there, imbued right there in the holy name, right? And the holy name, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rashtra Vigraha, is non-different than the Supreme Lord itself, right? And we say that we love Lord, right? Do we love the Lord? Can you raise your hand if you say that you love the Lord? All right. Haribo. Okay. And when we love the Lord, right, just think about that if you love somebody, you will have complete focus, complete attention towards that person, right? Especially in the time of chanting. Especially in the time of chanting, Because you are chanting his holy name. You are calling him out. Right? Srila Prabhupada translates the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a sincere cry of a child calling out to his mother, right? Calling out, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right? And in that cry also, if our attention itself is not there, right? What kind of love is that? Is that love? Right. Huh? Oh, okay. Agape, Hebrew, all right. That, no, means it's no love, it's not love. Right. If we love somebody, it will be undivided attention. Right. So similarly in relationship, right, if we are not attentive, see the link between relationship and chanting now. If we are not attentive, our quality of chanting is not good. If we are not attentive, what kind of relationship which we will have, right? Just like if you're not attentive to our child, would the child think that my parents love me? I think the next picture is like that. Right? Unlearn how to multitask and give our full attention to those we love. Right? What are the parents doing here? The child wants the attention, and supposedly the parents love their child, and the child thinks that the parents love me, but the parents instead are focusing on the gizmos. Right? Right there. You see, the child is completely bewildered. Hey, what's happening here? Right? And many times we'll see, we'll not only give this example, we'll see in our interaction also, we are talking with somebody, but at the same time we are multitasking, right? We are looking at some gadgets, we are looking at immediately text message, phone call, right? Multitasking, or thinking about, and that affects our relationship, because then there is no communication. The proper concern is not there. Proper concern about the other person is not there. And when we are not thinking about the other person, then it's lack of humility. We are just thinking about ourselves, right? It is selfish. It is not selfless. In a humble state of mind, in humility, if a person is humble, he will always think about the other person. Right? If a person is humble, he will always think about the other person. But if the person is not humble, he will always think about himself. Similarly, in relationship, if a person really loves somebody, he will give his full attention to that person. Right? But if he is inattentive to that, we'll see all kinds of lack of communication, lack of concern, lack of love, lack of humility in that relationship. Right? So that's how humility and relationship goes hand to hand. A nice quality, humility, is very much needed in any relationship. Right? It goes hand to hand. And both of that is also needed in chanting the holy name. Why? Because we are establishing our relationship, our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord. Right? By chanting the holy name, we are establishing our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord. right? For many, many lifetimes, somehow or other, we have a relationship with the Supreme Lord and we have lost our relationship. Why? Now, later on we'll hear this song, Emona Durmati, because of our mind which is misdirected intelligence. With a misdirected intelligence, our mind is thinking of taking shelter with the material pleasures instead of the Supreme Lord. So our relationship is broken there, right? Because we have lost attention to the Lord and we are not humble, right? So that's why love is giving someone your undivided attention, right? If we love somebody, we'll give that person undivided attention. So similarly, as devotees of the Lord, we should think of each and every living entity, right? Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihasini suni chaiva swapakecha pandita samadarshina. A pandita with samadarshina, equal vision, right? He sees a learned brahmana, a dog eater. He does not discriminate. He sees them with equal vision, right? Yeah. Love is giving someone your undivided attention. Cultivate your relationship with Krishna by nourishing our devotional creeper with undivided attention, right? So this devotional creeper, right, that seed is sown. By the mercy of the devotees, the seed is sown in our field, in our heart. But somehow, with that seed, in form of our anarthas, we let weeds grow side by side. And we do not pay proper attention to that, right? We let our anarthas overwhelm us, so much so that the weed growing side by side also may look like the devotional creeper itself, and we won't be able to distinguish which is a devotional creeper and which is a weed. Right. Yeah. So, that's why for chanting the holy name of the Lord, it is mentioned that one should have focused attention. For those who are visual learners, at times they're able to focus better if they see the picture, right? A beautiful picture in front of them and then begin their chanting, right? So that's why sometimes it's mentioned, okay, if you want, you can see the Supreme Lord or one of the pastime pictures of the Supreme Lord and then begin your chanting, right? So that in your mind, that visual image of the Lord is there while you are chanting, right? Or you can even keep the deity's picture in front of us and we chant, right? Not the TV in front of us while we chant, right? Why? Because that will bring the mind back. Or we keep the recording, right? In the temple, many times we keep Prabhupada's recording, Prabhupada chanting japa while we chant. So that when the mind starts wavering, we bring the mind back. Right? When the mind starts wavering, we bring the mind back to focus on the vibration, the sound vibration which is coming out by chanting the holy name. Srila Prabhupada, in fact, recommends that you hear the sound vibration which is coming out while you chant, and you just focus on that, right? Ultimately, a stage will come when it is pure chanting, right? You don't worry about starting to see Krishna on your tongue and all those things. That will come. It's there when you will come to that pure state, not before that, right? So initially just focus on the sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we see different meaning of attention. The attentive chanting, or the meaning of being attentive itself, is concentrating the mental powers on something, or full of polite concern for the well-being of others. That both means attentive, being attentive, right? Concentrating on the mental powers, or full of polite concern for the others. If I'm attentive to somebody's needs, I have to be completely concerned about that person if I'm attentive to that person's need, right? A doctor has to be attentive to the patient, right? If he is not attentive to the patient, then the patient will not have any faith in the doctor itself, right? Similarly, lack of attention, or the antonyms of attention is being negligent, right? Or being thoughtless, or distracted, or careless, right? Yeah. So there is another exercise coming. Visualize that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, right? In fact, we are all part and parcel of Krishna, right? We are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Mamai vansho jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, right? And Krishna's dear friend. Envision the form of the Lord most dear to you, whom you worship and meditate on. If you have more than one, choose one for the visualization. Envision your Lord in the heart of every person you interact with. What will you offer your Lord through your interaction with this person? So this is an exercise you will have to perform. What will you offer your Lord through your interaction with this person? Right? If each and everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, right? What does that make the other person to you? Right? You are both related, right? You are both related. You are all sons of God, right? Part and parcel of the same Supreme Lord. So, and imagine, means in each and everybody's heart, the super soul is watching the wanderings of the soul. In each and everybody's heart, the super soul is watching the wanderings of the soul and the person's interaction with other person, right? The super soul is watching that, a person's interaction with the other person, right? So what will you offer your Lord through your interaction with this person? Would that be love and kindness, patience and tolerance, or something else? Your Lord is watching everything, hearing everything, and knows everything in your mind and heart. What are you offering your Lord in this exchange? Go through your day from the time you woke up today morning or yesterday morning. Envision your Lord in the hearts of each and every person you interacted with. It could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be your child, parent, or friend, or bus driver, or people at work, or at school, or at colleges, or you're at business, right? So be introspective. Think about this and share it with your partner. Did everybody understand this exercise? I should repeat again, okay. We are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, right? So the basis is we are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Krishna is our dear friend. So envision the form of the Lord most dear to you, whom you worship and meditate on. If you are more than one, choose one for this visualization. Now envision the Lord being present in each and everybody's heart. Right? He is present in each and everybody's heart. Right? And then, through your interaction with that person, right, whoever that person could be, either husband or wife or relative or son or in that interaction, look at your interaction. That, oh, Lord is watching everything. Look at your interaction, and then you can share with your partner about your interaction. Yeah. Yes. Is that okay? Hmm? 10 minutes. I think we've started. We started at almost 3:20 or something. It was Kirtan going on.
The schedule was end at 4:45 to give a gap, so 45 minutes
Yeah, okay.
was the site.
Yeah. Yeah. Couple of more minutes before. was on my presentation. My presentation was connection between humility and Okay. If anybody would like to share their experience or interaction. Yes, Mataji. Somebody has a mic for? Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Though I have couple of experience, but I would like to repeat Maharaj's to like morning lecture sessions. He was just like narrating. One day he was traveling in a flight, and somebody like. The crew person like misbehaved. Maharaj thought to give feedback, couple of things he thought, but again then he didn't do this. But after that he like felt very peace rather than giving feedback or something. So that way number of situations comes in our life that instead of giving like negative feedback or something, if somebody hurts or
Radha Shyam Sundar ji ki jai.
if so in that situations couple of times it happens to me as well. If I think that it's okay, there might be some planning of Radha Kunjiveri, so that way it for time being that time I use to be peaceful, and it continues later on rather than saying and getting some negative like feelings.
Okay. Anybody else? Srimati Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when we are serving the deities, we really feel that they are there with us, and we make any mistake, then we think that, oh, it's my fault always. If we are offering some water or something and the water spills, we think that today we made something wrong, that's the reason it might have happened. But the same thing if the kids do, we won't be able to control ourselves. We say, this is your mistake, only you did it, and then we push the fault towards them, not thinking that practically there might have been some reason behind it. So if at all we think from the perspective of seeing the things in which we see towards the Lord, then we can better understand the kids and family.
Good. Wonderful. Krishna Prabhu. Vanshidhari Prabhu, can you bring the...
So a couple of days back, I think last week or so, one person called from North Carolina. So, and then he asked, do you have accommodation? I want to come and spend my time, do some service in the temple. Do you have accommodation? Then I thought, I don't know him. So I asked him, how did you get the details, or why do you want to serve, or do you know ISKCON before, or so something like that. I asked a couple of questions. Then again he called after some time. I also checked here, can we provide accommodation or not. Then I was during my reading Bhagavad Gita or something, some thoughts came that this could be a Krishna's arrangement. So why not? Why I am so afraid to serve him? Why not take it as a Krishna's arrangement. So then I called him back and then I said, all right, I can pick you up and I can provide accommodation. You can stay at my home or we'll do something. So you don't worry about it. You can come and serve in the temple. Prasad. Also another thing he asked, do you have prasad arrangement, either Govindas or something? I said, yeah, prasad no problem. In our temple always prasadam is there. So then, luckily with Prabhupada's mercy, so everything nicely arranged. He was able to go everywhere, Brooklyn and Tompkins Square Park. Wherever he is going, nicely Prabhupada arranged everything for him. So that it felt like some kind of a fear. This unknown person, whether we can keep him at our home or not, or so all those things. Means he also had, initially he doesn't have a car, means he doesn't want to drive all the way. Then he wanted to come with some Western people in a car at 2 o'clock in the morning. Then he had doubts, whether to come like that or whether to come by bus. Then I said, if you have doubts, you be fixed up and you come directly or you come on your own with a bus. So then he came by bus. So everything went smoothly. He went back also, having a nice, wonderful experience of serving in the temple. He was cleaning in the night here. So that way Krishna gave a wonderful experience for me and for him also. Means how Krishna arranges in different ways.
Very good. Attentive to a person's need. It gives a positive experience both for us that we have served somebody and for him not being neglected. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, I think we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay. We'll get the picture up on the screen in a moment, I guess. We ended the morning session with completing the first 8 verses of Lord Brahma's prayers, and the final one, number 8, is actually many of the verses in this chapter 14, they're quoted again and again and again. And text number 3 and text number 8 are especially quoted. Just as a reminder, the final message in his prayer here is that he had accepted the path of bhakti, and he had rejected the path of speculative knowledge. And then in this text 8, he's describing the internal cultivation of bhakti. Just as a reminder, because hearing again helps us remember. The first part was anticipating Krishna's mercy, expecting Krishna's mercy, the internal cultivation, whether it's things are going this way or things are going that way, expect Krishna's mercy. That was Krishna's mercy. And the second was to accept responsibility of our past actions rather than not liking a particular reaction or liking a particular reaction, just accepting responsibility for our past deeds. We're the creator of our own good fortune and ill fortune. And the third is, whatever this external circumstances, remaining in the spirit of offering obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all circumstances of life, staying in this mood of shelter taking. And the final passage in that very wonderful verse is, by so doing, just staying engaged in devotional service in that way, one is assured of mukti pade swadhyaya bhak, of inheriting the property of the father is the right of the son who survives his father, meaning because who is Brahma's father? Lord Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So, and his abode is in the spiritual world. So he'll go to the spiritual world. Just take it the shelter of the personality of Godhead. In that disposition, you go back to Godhead. Krishna will help you. So the next series of verses, they're not too many, 9, 10, 11, and 12, just 4 verses. These verses are Lord Brahma's offering of his apology, requesting the Supreme Lord to extend forgiveness for his offense. And we'll go through these very quickly. It begins, text 9. Oh, I have to do this. Yeah, okay. I'll just read the translation. My Lord, just see my uncivilized impudence. That's pretty strong language. Anaryam. There's Arya and there's Anarya. Those that are not behaving in a civilized way. Anarya. Krishna speaks like that about Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Anarya Jushtam Ashvargyam. How is this non-Aryan behavior coming over you? To test your power, I try to extend my illusory potency to cover you, the unlimited and primeval supersoul who bewilders even the masters of illusion. What am I compared to you? I'm just a small spark in the presence of a great fire, which is what our philosophy is. The same as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a living entity is a tiny angsa. Mame vangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, eternally. That's our position. We're very, very tiny sparks in the presence of a big, great fire. And so the anarya behavior, the uncivilized impudence, is the spark to think the spark is going to cover the fire. That's illusion. Yet the person who he was thinking he would cover is the one who covers all those who are masters of illusion. And the display that Krishna showed is made it very clear. The opulence and power of Krishna is unlimited. Here's another nice painting where Lord Brahma is offering his prayers and Krishna looks pretty casual, leaning against a tree. So, text 10, therefore, kindly excuse my offenses. Kshama. I've taken birth in the mode of passion. He's the creator. And I am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller, independent of your lordship. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator of this universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. Maybe some of you are a little familiar with the prayer or the appeal that Lord Brahma offers to Lord Vishnu in the 9th chapter of Canto 2. Lord Vishnu comes before him even before creation takes place. And Lord Vishnu offers Brahma the opportunity to accept any benediction he likes. So he asked for the benediction of never falling under the illusion that I'm the creator. And that's a good one for us to remember. Whatever it is that we do, we're not the doer. Whatever service we do, behind us is the personality of Godhead, and we're the instrument, not the doer. So that the doer consciousness, or karta aham consciousness, is material consciousness, and it guarantees one thing: you're going to forget Krishna. So his prayer is, let me never forget you. Let me always remain in your service. And for that, he's asking for mercy, because we also need mercy. Otherwise, how can we be engaged in the service of the Supreme? We need mercy. And his appeal is, those who are fallen, you're merciful by nature. And for those that are fallen, you have special mercy. So I'm your candidate. Very similar to what Rupa and Sanatan Goswami said to Lord Chaitanya. You have appeared in this world to deliver the most fallen. And guess what? There's no one more fallen than us. We're your best candidates. Please give your mercy upon us. Then, you can't read it so well because of the light, but the next one, what am I? You can see there's Krishna with his cowherd boyfriends behind him, and there's Lord Brahma offering to this prayer. What am I, a small creature, measuring 7 spans of my own hand? I'm enclosed in a pot-like universe composed of material nature, total material energy, false ego, ether, air, water, and earth. And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body, just as particles of dust pass through the openings of a screened window. Apparently, window screens aren't new, because Lord Brahma knew about them. This is a long time ago, 5,000 years ago. It's not new technology. I guess they had mosquitoes and they had to keep mosquitoes out. So he's in one of those pot-like universes, but unlimited universes pass through the pores of his body. So he's likening Krishna to Mahavishnu, which is not inappropriate, because Krishna is the source of Mahavishnu, who is the source of the universes that pass through the pores of his body. We'll hear Brahma is not confused or unclear. Brahma is very clear that Krishna is the source of Mahavishnu. He's the source of everything. He's already seen it in that display of all the Vishnu forms were expansions of Krishna, including Mahavishnu. So through your expansion, a portion of your plenary portion universes are coming from the pores of your body. How great are you? And he makes this comparison of particles of dust passing through openings of a screen window. We've all seen this, so I found an image that reminds me of watching this. The morning sun comes through the window, and when the morning sun comes through the window, you can see little particles of dust dancing in the rays of the sun. And then if the window is open or the screen is open, thank you very much. Thank you. So the particles of dust pass through the little pores of the screen, and so you're like that. Your nature is, you're literally unlimited. And then the final of these prayers for apologies, nice one. Oh, Lord Adhokshaja, does a mother take offense when the child within her womb kicks with his legs? No. And is there anything in existence, whether designated by various philosophers as real or unreal, that is actually outside your abdomen. Pretty clever. He's an intelligent fellow, Lord Brahma. So mothers aren't going to fault their child within their womb or within their abdomen when they kick. And I am like your child. And for that matter, what isn't within your abdomen? Everything is within you. It's a nice old painting. Here's 3 different Brahmas. There's Lord Brahma riding on his swan carrier. Here's Brahma standing before Krishna offering his prayers. Here's Brahma offering at the very beginning, his repeated obeisances again and again, and again and again, and again and again, in the mood of submission, on this theme of humility. So we have a nice section forward. So if whoever's in that control box can change to the other slide. I hope somebody's there. Is there somebody in that control room? Need to go to the other PowerPoint. Okay. So we're going to do a little review. I see some people in the audience that weren't with us this morning. You saved yourself 2.5 hours of very valuable time. But we'll just do a quick review. And the topic in those first 8 verses was how to know the unknowable. That's a contradiction, right? How to know the unknowable. And not only unknowable, but the unknowable has unlimited potencies. How is that possible? So the theme for the morning was, by humility, Krishna helped to make Brahma humble, or bring him to the point of even more humble than humble, completely humbled. And in that humility, he had all these wonderful realizations which he shared in these nice prayers. And one sense, he's indicating, as he does in Canto 3, Chapter 9, that's a section where Brahma is also speaking about the process of creation. He has darshan of the Supreme Lord, similar to what we find in Canto 2. Again, it's described that he has darshan of the personality of Godhead. And he's offering this nice prayer. I'll just read. "O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed. And you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you." So, what happened? Okay. If you remember from Friday, well, those of you that were with us Friday evening, it was also discussed in the morning class, where Ramananda Roy, in describing this tatte nukampam susamikshimano, gyane prayasam udapasya namanta eva, that verse, that when the tendency for mental speculation is set aside, and instead of approaching knowing Krishna through the power of speculation. One approaches Krishna by appealing for his descending mercy, inviting his descending mercy by extending devotional service unto him from the heart with meaningfulness and purpose of trying to please Krishna, just trying, because who are we to please Krishna? We're insignificant. But with that mood of trying to please Krishna, Krishna removes the darkness of ignorance, and if he wishes, he can reveal himself to us. So here Brahma is saying, and that form that Krishna reveals himself through the process of hearing, we see, interesting, first through the ears. One time, Prabhupada was describing, it was the installation lecture of Rukmini Dwarkadish in Los Angeles. Big event, a very moving lecture. If you have a chance, listen to the lecture. Prabhupada was saying, if you go on serving the deity very nicely, just as you've had Radhashama Sundar installed here very recently, if you go on serving the deity very nicely, one day Krishna will speak to you and he will say, I am like this. It's a very simple expression. So when we're engaged in deity worship, certainly there's faith, otherwise why would we be doing? There's the hearing process, otherwise why would we have faith? But we're in the sadhana stage. That means, there's blocks in our ability to see Krishna, understand Krishna, but through the progressive awakening of devotion through serving, and through serving meaningfully with the intention of pleasing Krishna, one day he will say, we'll understand Krishna by hearing first. So seeing through the ears is this phrase by Lord Brahma. And then that quality hearing, the heart becomes cleansed. And when the heart becomes cleansed, Krishna sits there. And the form of Krishna that sits there is according to how you've been hearing. That form of the Lord that you're attracted to is how he sits in your heart. Isn't that nice? So Krishna has been very kind to Lord Brahma. He has shown not only his form of Krishna in his original feature in Vrindavan, but he's shown the opulences and glories and powers that overwhelmed Brahma so much when he was paying his obeisances. He was bathing the Lord's feet with his tears of joy. So the prayers end, this is just review, these initial prayers end with Brahma having taken full shelter of the bhakti process and leaving aside the speculative process of how to understand that which is unlimited. He's offered his apologies to Krishna, and now he wants to go further based upon his realization through bhakti that Krishna is the original Narayana. Now, sometimes ISKCON devotees have some question. Why do you worship Krishna and not Vishnu or Narayan? And there's different scriptural answers to that question. But if you ever have been asked that question or anticipate that you might, because just stay around for a while, you'll be asked the question. Here's a very nice answer coming from these prayers of Lord Brahma. Okay, so we'll start with text 13. My dear Lord, it is said that when the three planetary systems are merged into the water at the time of dissolution, your plenary portion, Narayana, lies down on the water, because it's right there in the Sanskrit, Narayana. Now this Narayana's expansion is Lord Vishnu. So it's also okay to say Narayana lies on the water. Mahavishnu lies on the causal ocean. Garbhodakshay Vishnu lies on the Garbhodak ocean, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu lies down on the Kshirodak ocean. Your plenary portion, Narayana, lies down on the water. Gradually, a lotus flower grows from his navel, and Brahma, that's himself, takes birth upon that lotus. Certainly, these words are not false. Thus, am I not born from you? And Krishna considers, what are you talking about, Brahma? You're a senior by birth to me by so much. I'm just, little boy moving around Vrindavan. You're supposed to be very intelligent. Why are you saying, are you not my father? And he goes on, O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father, Narayana? Narayana refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And that Narayana, referring to Garbhodakshay Vishnu, is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and not creations of Maya. What's he saying? Well, in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, who's pictured here, he discusses this in detail. There's many, many verses, a whole big section. Because his interest, Krishnadas Kaviraj, in this section, his interest is to indicate Krishna's unique position. This Swayam Bhagavan Krishna in Vrindavan, his unique position. And so he lists one by one. He says, no, you are. Krishna, you're objecting, but I'll prove it to you by scriptural reference and logic. You are Narayan. He's having a philosophical debate with Krishna. Because Krishna is taking the position, I'm a little boy in Vrindavan. What are you talking about? So here's the three from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The first one is, Krishna is the original Narayan because Krishna is the ayana, or the refuge of all naras, indicating in this case the aggregate of all living beings. They're related, but they're different, each of the three, so I'm going to go slowly, because it's nice to understand how strong is the logic of Brahma. So Krishna is the ayana, or the refuge of all naras. He's the refuge of everything. Is he not? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. Or there's other verses in Bhagavad Gita. Matak paratranam nanyat kinchidasti nananjaya. Krishna is the source of everything. So he's the source of all living entities, and he is the shelter of them, or the ayana, or the refuge. For those of you that like Srimad Bhagavatam, I like Srimad Bhagavatam a whole lot. There's a very nice description in Jiva Goswami's treating of the 10 subject matters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Number 10 is the shelter of the first 9. And ashraya. Here it's ayana. But so there's difference of meaning but similarity of meaning. Ashraya means shelter. Ayana means refuge. And Krishna is the shelter or the refuge of everything. Let's say it in reverse. Is there something that exists outside of Krishna? Prabhupada said it this way. There's two things. There's Krishna and there's Krishnas. And there's not a third thing in all of creation. Very simple. So whatever the things are, even they may be, Krishna's expansions. the Vishnu forms, the avatars, Narayana, his plenary portions, all of the Vishnu Tattva forms, Krishna is the ayana of all of them. So whether the living beings mean the jivas or the forms of the Supreme, Vishnu Tattvas, he's the ayana of all. Here's what Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, paraphrasing Brahma's statement. You are the ultimate cause and shelter of all living beings. The word Nara refers to the aggregate of all living beings, and the word Ayana refers to the refuge of them all. You are therefore the original, Narayana. And then the second one, similar but different. Krishna is the source of the Purusha avatars. Besides the living beings, the source of the Purusha avatars, he protects and invests potencies in the Purushas, who are in turn the shelter of all living beings. So he's the shelter of the shelters. Here's what Krishnadas Kaviraj writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The direct lords of the living beings are the Purusha incarnations. The Purushas are protectors of the universes by your power, since you protect those who are the shelter of all living beings. You're the original Narayana. Pretty straightforward. You're the shelter of all living beings. You're the shelter of the Purushas. And then Krishna oversees the wanderings, that's another meaning of ayana, of all living beings. Again, Nara. So Krishnadas Kaviraj writes it this way. There are countless universes and fathomless transcendental Vaikunthas. You see all the deeds of all living beings, past, present, and future. Since you are the witness of all such deeds, Ayana, you are the essence of everything. And then just again in the yellow in the bottom is saying the same. You oversee the wanderings, or ayana, of all living beings, Nara, for this reason also. You are the primeval Lord Narayana. So here's Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, that kind of got carried away with his own power, seeing the unlimited power of Krishna, and now he's humbled again, and back into his position of understanding Krishna's actual identity. So this is a very important part of these prayers. Krishna, as is the Mahavakya of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. What's the principal utterance? Verse 1328. Ete changsa kalapungsang Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Brahma is confirming it here in his prayers by practical realization. After what he saw, there's no question. We may have a question because we didn't see what Brahma saw. But we heard what Brahma saw, and he has no question. So now, he's going to expand this just a little bit more in the next verse. My dear Lord, if your transcendental body, which shelters the entire universe, is actually lying upon water, then why were you not seen by me when I searched for you? What is he referring to? When Brahma was born on the lotus, he began inquiring two main things. Who am I? It's a good question. And the second one is, where did I come from? Another good question. So to find out where he came from, he used his reasoning faculty. Well, I'm on a lotus flower. There must be a stem. He could hear the splashing. It's described in the Bhagavatam. He could hear the splashing of the waves. So I just climbed down the stem and I'll find where I came from. He climbed down and climbed down and climbed down and climbed down, and there would seem to be no end to that stem. He couldn't see what he's saying here. I couldn't see you. Why couldn't I see you? Why, though I could not envision you properly within my heart, did you then suddenly reveal yourself? Because that's what happened. He heard tapa, tapa, tapa. So he knew what that meant. We would probably go, what's that noise? It's like, the AC unit that keeps coming off and on and blowing cold air on us in the winter. What's that noise? So I stopped. I'm just joking. When he understood what tapa meant, he went back up the top of the lotus, and the tapa that he did was he chanted the mantra that he had received. We just turned it on again. He chanted the mantra that he received. That was his tapa. And then he was expecting that he would see the Lord within his heart, but he didn't. He saw him externally. In fact, he not only saw the Lord externally, but he saw the whole spiritual world. And he describes what he saw in those beautiful prayers of Lord Brahma. Whoops. So now, what follows is something very nice. There's verses from 15 till 29. So that's 6 plus 9. That's 15 verses, and they're all on a theme. He's now, Lord Brahma, is going to describe eulogize Krishna's position. And there's a very nice audio section, and if our person sitting in the box back there did what I asked him to do, we're going to do a little sound check and make sure the volume is audible. And before he starts it, I'm going to ask you I'm going to give you a quiz question at the end. And the quiz question is, what did you understand from this? Besides, the music was nice.
Lord Brahma attempts to express the ramifications of the opulence that he has seen Krishna display. He prays to Krishna, "O Lord, I previously was unable to either understand or see you due to the coverings of your own Maya, your illusory energy. But you are the controller of that Maya, and that was proved by Mother Yashoda's seeing the universe within your abdomen. Now, at the present, that universe is externally manifest as your inconceivable energy, and it is therefore all that I perceive. Today, by your manifesting all the cows, cowherd boys, and Vishnu forms who are being worshipped by all living entities, you've demonstrated that the entire creation is your inconceivable potency. And now, I'm seeing before me the original form of the unlimited, supreme, absolute truth. To the ignorant, you seem to be of this material world, although it is you who appears as Brahma, the creator, who appears as Vishnu, the maintainer, and as Shiva, the destroyer. To demonstrate that you, the absolute truth, is an unlimited transcendental person, you descend within the universe as avatars, and you take birth among the demigods, sages, humans, animals, and the aquatics. As an avatar, you then, by your spiritual potency, perform your innumerable, inconceivable, mysterious pastimes. Due to you, this entire universe, which, like a dream, is by nature unreal, nevertheless appears real. And thus, it covers one's consciousness and assails one with repeated miseries. This universe appears real because it is manifested by the potency of illusion emanating from you, whose unlimited transcendental forms are full of eternal happiness and knowledge. You are the one Supreme Soul, the primeval Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth, self-manifesting, endless and beginningless. You are eternal and infallible, perfect and complete, without any rival, and free from all material designations. Your happiness cannot be obstructed, nor have you any connection with material contamination. Indeed, you are the indestructible nectar of immortality. By the grace of his spiritual master, a jnani can mix bhakti with his jnana. He will then be able to see you as the soul of all souls. He will be able to see you as the super soul of his own self. This vision will allow him to cross the ocean of material existence. For one who has thus realized you, the illusory energy at once subsides, for he is free of the false vision of perceiving anything as separate from you. Seeing you with this vision of knowledge and remaining in knowledge of you, devoid of the false perceptions that are the cause of the existence of the material world, his ignorance and illusion cease. Therefore, through knowledge of you and knowledge of himself as your eternal servant, neither liberation nor bondage have meaning for him, just as day and night have no meaning for one present on the sun planet. How foolish are the jnanis! How foolish are the mayavadis! They are fools because they consider your form as a manifestation of illusion. How foolish are the conditioned souls! Regardless of how intelligent they think themselves as being, they all perceive themselves as their bodies, and they thus fail to see their self as part of you. They're all fools because they reject you, and in so doing, they search for the Supreme Soul outside of your Supreme Personality. How foolish are all of these so-called learned men! O unlimited Lord, the saintly devotees who have added bhakti to their jnana seek you out within their own bodies by rejecting everything separate from you. Indeed, how can discriminating persons appreciate the real nature of a rope lying before them until they refute the illusion that it is a snake? My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years.
Well, we lost the soundtrack at the end, but you get the basic idea. So our surprise quiz question: what is it, one or two or three persons, what is it that you remember from what you heard? Lord Brahma's message to Krishna. Blank or something? Yes? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. We don't need to search outside for God. He's inside within us as Super Soul.
Okay.
That's one point which is mentioned here.
Yeah. Yes? Thank you.
He's unlimited.
Yeah. And that's the theme of this whole section, is how to know the unknowable that has unlimited potencies. How is it possible for a tiny living being to have such knowledge? He's unlimited. By disclosure, we can know something. When the unlimited, when he who exists before we exist discloses himself, we can know. The unlimited can disclose some feature of himself and we can know. We require mercy. And mercy is invited by bhakti. Yes, over here? Okay. Well, that's okay.
Well, thank you, Guru Maharaj, for a wonderful lecture. Brahma speak about himself that because he is his child, he should, and his internal, like a child to a father, he is internal servant, and therefore he should forgive him.
Someone else had their hand up over here? Yes.
Krishna is the creator of Maya, but fools think that Krishna is the product of Maya. Gyanis think that Krishna is the product of Maya, whereas Krishna is the creator of Maya. Yeah. And if they mix bhakti with their gyan, then they can understand that Krishna is actually the Supreme Person.
Well, it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's carry on so that we can hopefully finish on time. Let's carry on so we can finish on time. The section just preceding these wonderful verses, Brahma has made this very bold declaration that Krishna is even the source of Narayan. He's the original Narayan, the source of Narayan, because he's the source of everything. And he is unlimitedly powerful. So Krishna might say, really? Whoops. How do you know that? How can you verify that? So now, the next verse is very often, another often quoted verse, text 29. Atapi te deva padambujam dvaya prashada leshano grihita evahi. Those of you that have heard Prabhupada speak, or he is an often quoted verse. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. Which sounds very similar to one of the verses that was in that section. So, lesha, this term here, slight trace. Now, the indication is Brahma has received such a slight trace. But the indirect implication is how much benefit then, how much good fortune is with the residents of Vrindavan. This verse is then going to lead into what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Brahma takes a plunge into the ocean of Braja Prem. So this is, he's jumping on the springboard right now before he jumps into the ocean. And earlier in this same canto, chapter 12, whoops, what happened here? Oh yeah, is another verse where you've heard this phrase, Krita Punya Punja. Prabhupada speaks, Krita Punya Punja, because Brahma speaks it, where the pious activities of the cowherd boys who are playing with Krishna and wrestling with Krishna, just like, Kamsa was so powerful, even the demigods were afraid of him. Just like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu said, even if I raise my eyebrow, the demigods tremble. He was so powerful, without all the, because time doesn't permit, so powerful, he has subdued so many kings and defeated their entire army, and they're left standing and said, you have two choices. Either you submit to me or I'll kill you. If you submit to me, then you have to assist me in my program, my Kamsa controlling the universe program. So they submitted. Kamsa was very powerful. But with one sako, Krishna killed him. And he was just a 12-year-old boy. But the 12-year-old boy Krishna, when he was wrestling with his cowherd friends, they would defeat him. There's this very often quoted little statement by Radharani's brother Sridham. Often Krishna and Sridham were paired, and Sridham would regularly beat Krishna. And he would say, what kind of big man are you? You always lose. People say you're this, so powerful, but you always lose. What kind of big man are you? Now, how did these cowherd boys get this opportunity to be in that situation? Here's what Shukadev Goswami, he's narrating what the cowherd boys do when they're in the forest, and he just breaks stride and says, these cowherd boys, having accumulated the results of pious activities from many, many lives, were able to associate in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain their great fortune? Whereas in this verse, he's saying even with a slight trace of good fortune, you can understand Krishna. They didn't care to understand Krishna. They were just playing with him. Amazing. We heard this earlier verse of Krishna gave his special mercy to Putana, Bakasura, and Agasura. So how are you going to give mercy to the devotees? That's coming up. That's text 35. We're still on 29. So now that, what's going on? Jeez. There's 29. Okay. Brahma has understood Krishna. Now Krishna is more or less asking, what is it that you desire? Take a benediction from me, kind of a statement. So here's what he wants. Very nice verse. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life as Lord Brahma, or in another life, wherever I may take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that whatever I may be, even amongst the animal species, I can engage in devotional service to your lotus feet. That's a proper prayer. That's a devotee prayer. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, he didn't ask to become a resident in Vrindavan because he's understood the exalted nature of the residents of Vrindavan, but he's feeling really bad that he's made this offense. I'm not qualified to be a resident in Vrindavan. Let me just be a devotee. Wherever I may be, let me just be engaged in your devotional service. And then, what's going on? A next series of verses, I'll just read quickly. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saying, at this point, Brahma falls in the ocean of Braja Prem. O Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate, Ati Dhanya, how greatly fortunate are the cows and ladies of Vrindavan, the nectar of whose breast milk you have happily drunk to your full satisfaction, taking the form of their calves and children. You know the pastime. Does anyone not know the pastime? I'll say the pastime. During that period of time when Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys, Krishna manifested himself as calves and cowherd boys. And that pastime, solar year, although for Brahma it was just a few moments, because Brahma's time and our time are different. So 1 year had passed, and please note, when the cowherd boys were stolen, who was absent? Balaram. Who can steal Balaram? Forget it. So Balaram was home. So when the cowherd boys went home, as they were forms of Krishna, because the mothers wanted to have Krishna as their son. So Krishna became their son. And the cows, with maternal affection, they wanted to give their milk to Krishna, so he took the position of their calves. And he directly, as a calf, accepted their milk. It's described in the 10th canto Bhagavatam, in Krishna book. How fortunate. Not only Mother Jasoda and Nanda Maharaj, but all the mothers with children and the cows with calves. Krishna took their form. All the Vedic sacrifices performed from time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction. Krishna was very satisfied by the love of the residents of Vrindavan. Next. How greatly fortunate, he says it twice, aho bhagyam, aho bhagyam. Remember that Lesha, just a moment, just a fraction of Krishna's mercy, one can understand him. What to speak of these residents of Vrindavan? How fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men, and all the other inhabitants of Vrajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal supreme Brahman, has become their friend. Vishwanath comments, he doesn't mention their names because he just got through kidnapping them. He doesn't want to bring it up again. He feels bad enough already. He just says, these boys. Text 33. Yet, even though the extent of good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we, demigods, 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate. They're not residents of Vrindavan, but because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. You have anything to do with Vrindavan and you're fortunate. So become a demigod. If you're wise, you'll understand what good fortune it is to have that. You're the controllers of the senses of all embodied beings, and especially the residents of Vrindavan. Through their senses, they're contacting Krishna, the honey of Krishna's lotus feet. And one more. My greatest possible good fortune, Bhuri Bhagyam, would be to take birth, any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokula, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Who spoke like this? Uddhava. Same mood. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is being searched for in the Vedic mantras. Yat Pada Raja. The dust of whose lotus feet the Vedas are searching for. And the residents of Vrindavan, it's their life and soul. Then comes this verse 35 that we mentioned before. My mind becomes bewildered. Just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions which you bestow upon these residents of the cowherd community of Vrindavan. You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. So what is left for you to give to these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relatives, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated to you? Tvat krite, dedicated to you. Do I hear a crying child in the audience? Can you be kind and take the child somewhere? Here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment. They have given you everything. He lists the same list. How are you going to reciprocate with them now? You were such a generous giver, and you've given yourself to Putana. How then you reciprocate with these Brajavasis? Vishwanath's conclusion is he can't. And Krishna basically says, how can I repay you? You just have to be contented with your own devotion. That's the repayment. And he also says, Krishna has raised their level of love to the mood of pranaya. He just amplified and increased and accelerated their natural quality of love. So we're almost done. We're going to go to text 40. We have just 5 verses to go. Brahma now in these concluding verses essentially is saying, or responding to this question, someone may think, oh, I'm very renounced. I have no possessions. and I have no attachments. I wander alone in the forest. I am more advanced than these householder Vrajavasis who attend to cows. So these prayers are straightening out that person. My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves. Their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles. Not very complimentary language. My dear Master, although you have nothing to do with material existence, you come to this earth and imitate material life just to expand the varieties of ecstatic enjoyment for your surrendered devotees. You know that verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna gives 3 reasons why he comes? Pritranaya, sadhunam, vinashaya, chaduskritam, dharma sangsthapanartaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. So Prabhupada, one lecture I heard him speak. So which of these is the reason for Krishna's coming? It says well, he could have sent someone else to do each one of those things. So his real reason is this one. He's come to reciprocate with the affection of his devotees. That's why he comes. Then, to respond to the Gyanis, there are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. I've met some of those people. No, I don't need Bhagavad Gita. I know all about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh, my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. My dear Lord Krishna, I now humbly request permission to leave. Actually, you are the knower and the seer of all things. Indeed, you are the Lord of all the universes, and yet I offer this one universe unto you. My dear Lord Krishna, you bestow happiness upon the lotus-like Vrishni dynasty and expand the great oceans consisting of the earth, the demigods, the brahmanas, and the cows. You dispel the dense darkness of irreligion and oppose the demons who have appeared on this earth. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, as long as this universe exists and as long as the sun shines, I will offer my obeisances unto you. So very, very beautiful prayers, and how this connects with our Japa retreat is with humility, then surrender and more surrender become possible. And with that surrender, then comes service. And when that service is steady, fixed upon the object to be served, Krishna, then Krishna sees that. And different than for the non-devotee, rather than accruing our karma, there's different situations that may be coming our way for examining how fixed are we upon Krishna. That's in our day-to-day life, and to be successful in all of that day-to-day life, to be Krishna conscious, we require to chant the holy name in that mood, in that spirit, in that way. So hopefully these messages go more deeply than just nice stories and slokas and passages. Brahma is the founder of our sampradaya. And he's the imparter of all transcendental knowledge, the recipient of, as we see, such mercy from Krishna. And he wants to give that. He does give that. And through these wonderful prayers directly to Krishna, the original personality of Godhead Krishna, we can understand about Krishna if we get some of that mercy that Lord Brahma wants us to receive. And especially the residents of Vrindavan are receiving that in such volumes we can't even understand. But that's the process, the chanting that we're being given. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Trishe Namaha. The translation Prabhupada has given us is Lord Chaitanya has come to give what no one has ever given before. This love of Krishna in Vrindavan. Please take it. Please don't be distracted by so many distractions. Those of you that were not with us Friday evening, we did this little exercise of chanting and watching where the mind goes, and sure enough, the mind goes to our designations, the services that we do, our roles and responsibilities and our duties, and things that they're important, they're not unimportant, but when we're chanting, it's not an opportunity to multi-process, it's an opportunity to go beyond those upadhis and just be with Krishna, like has happened here with Lord Brahma. Now, the concluding part, very nice, I like this very much. All the while, just like you see in this beautiful painting, here's Krishna with his left hand extended, because he eats with his right hand, so he's holding the yogurt and fruit in his left hand. Unblinkingly, he's listening to Lord Brahma, and he doesn't say anything. It doesn't say, Hari Bol. Okay, see you later, Brahma. It's been nice having this conversation with you. He doesn't say anything. And the explanation given is, he's just waiting for Brahma to finish so he can go back and be with the cowherd boys. Because that's the love of Krishna. He wants that. And Brahma has interrupted it. That was the offense. So praises and glorifications is not what Krishna wants. He wants our love. Now, Brahma has love, but especially he's attracted to this love of the residents of Vrindavan. It tells us something about our dear Lord Krishna. He's the well-wisher and dearmost friend of all, each and every one of us. We don't have a better friend than Krishna. We have friends, but not a better friend than Krishna. He stays with us no matter what we do. He's guiding us no matter what we do. And this is important guidance to improve the focus in which we chant the holy name. So hopefully these will be helpful, this mood, especially mood of humility of Lord Brahma, as well as the wonderful things that he saw, understood, and appreciated about Krishna. So we'll take questions for a few minutes, and I'd like to end at 5:30, so the next event can be on time. Can we turn the light on in the back corner back there? And then anyone would like to raise a question, please raise your hand. Or something you'd like explained further. Okay, we have a mic. We have a question up here. Put your hand up again, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, the Japa retreat is so uplifting, and it increased, the environment is so encouraging to chant attentively. So Maharaj, how we can carry forward this mood?
How we can do what? Carry forward?
Yeah, how we can cultivate.
Come here bright and early tomorrow morning with your bead bag. Rest well. I was going to give a couple of tips. This is a good cue. There's going to be a wonderful kirtan tonight. And you don't get the opportunity like we do in New York to hear Ananta Govinda and Achyuta Gopi. They sing so nicely. And they can easily go till midnight. I don't know what they're going to do this evening. They may have something else they have to go do. If you want to chant good japa tomorrow morning, carry forward till tomorrow morning, get sufficient rest, and here's another, two other things. During the day, what a wonderful sound vibration. Sannyasis understand the crying of a child is specifically for those in the renounced order of life, to teach us, boy, I'm glad I didn't get married. Hare Krishna. I think it's especially grating to the ears of a sannyasi. Anyway, so during the day tomorrow, it says on the sheet, but I'll just emphasize it, Mona Vrata. Mona Vrata means remain silent. You know, when little children cry, they're not breaking the rule, they're just being little children. But yeah, we want the light on. Can someone turn the light on again? Thank you. That's good. That's good. That's good. Mona Vrata tomorrow. That means, even when you're taking prasadam and, remain, it's helpful. You'll see. It's helpful. It's not just like another rule, oh my goodness. It's helpful. So you stay focused on what your function is, chanting and not conversation. And if you have to do something with your children, fine, but otherwise, Mona, please. And another something that I've learned from japa retreats, eat modestly. If you eat more than modestly, it's really hard to be focused on chanting. After breakfast and after lunch, don't eat too little, but don't eat too much. I learned the hard way a couple of times. So take the lessons and apply them. That's how to move forward with this. Something else.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have two questions. The first one was regarding expecting Lord's mercy. So, with my tendencies, I feel that because I expect the forgiveness, it seems the regret doesn't seem to be very genuine, because I'm expecting already that Krishna is going to forgive, or my spiritual authorities are going to forgive me. How to go beyond that, to actually focus on the relationship?
The last letter you wrote, we discussed this, the expectation message. And what you can expect is Krishna's mercy, but don't dictate to Krishna the parameters of how he's going to give his mercy to you. Krishna is merciful. Our calculation of what it should look like, here's another way of saying, when you surrender unto Krishna, you've probably heard me say this before, please understand that you're surrendering on his terms, not your terms, when you're surrendering to Krishna. So if Krishna reciprocates with your surrender in this way, that way, or the other way, it's perfectly fine. Just like, the discussion where Vishwanath was saying sometimes the father gives nice sweet milk, and sometimes the father gives bitter neem. Sometimes the father gives nice encouraging words to his son. Sometimes he gives some admonishment. But a loving father does those things out of love, and the father has a better idea of what's best for the child than the child. So why neem is appropriate in one time and milk is appropriate another time, a qualified father will know, and a loving father will administer. Not, oh, you don't want milk? Or excuse me, you don't want neem, I'll just give you milk even if it may aggravate your disease. So, similarly, Krishna is loving. And when Krishna gives to his devotee, whatever Krishna gives, whatever comes our way, it's for our best interest. And same from others. The expectation is, a controller spirit. But we shouldn't be in a controlling spirit. We should be in the serving spirit. And it just takes the whole expectation thing away. From others, from Krishna. And from ourselves, we're tiny. But let me try to be in the service mood, and according to the capacity Krishna gives, I'll try my best. And I could always do better, and I'll continue to try to do better than my best. Then the ability, more ability comes. Krishna is very kind. I understand it's a stumbling block for you. Just stay with, the path of being in that proper mood, and it'll be very helpful. Yeah?
Can I ask one more?
Yeah.
I tried to apply the exercise of the upadhis that you mentioned yesterday. So I realized that when the mind goes to some very specific upadhis, there's a lot of feelings loaded in those upadhis. And when I try to bring the mind back, try to remember myself as being an eternal servant of Krishna, because there are no feelings like that, so the heart seems very empty, and it's hard to keep the mind at kind of in a vacuum heart kind of place.
So I'm not sure what the question is.
So the struggle that I felt when applying the exercises, that for the upadhis, wherever my mind was getting distracted, some patterns were repeating, and there are so many emotions and feelings that are loaded in those upadhis that the mind just goes there. And when bringing back, I don't feel anything when as being servant of Krishna. So it's hard for me to keep the mind.
Well, that's the problem. So what do you do when you have a mind that's uncooperative? Because it's cluttered with stuff. You continue to practice. Abhyasa. With faith in the instruction, and faith in the instructors offering the instruction, and ultimately faith in Krishna, you continue to practice. This is good medicine. My mind is uncooperative, but it's good medicine. Let me continue. You continue to practice. Here's something I wanted to read, and I think then we'll end with this. This is at the very end of the purport of text 40 of Brahma's prayers from the BBT publication. Concerning Brahma's prayers, of which this verse is the conclusion, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states, quote, "May these prayers of Brahma, which take away all doubts and broadcast all the definitive conclusions of devotional service, become the expert craftsmanship of the foundation of my consciousness." Pretty cool. They're prayers, but it's teachings in devotional service. What devotional service is, what it isn't, how to stay on course as distractions come, and so forth. Like that Tattenu Kampam Susamikshamano verse, very, very instructive. Your internal cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Just stay with it. Just stay with it, with faith in this process through the lens of these teachings. They're very nice teachings in this humble mood. So may you all have a successful 64 round day tomorrow. How many are going to be here for tomorrow morning, 64 rounds? Okay. Look forward to seeing you and being with you. Oh, another tip is, as we mentioned earlier today, stay together. Oh, actually, it was Friday evening. As much as possible, stay in the temple room. Maybe get some heaters in the temple room tomorrow. At least keep the wind chill factor out of the picture because of the turning on the AC. And that'll keep us warm. It's warm when there's nice kirtan or japa together. It'll be warmer here anyway. So I'm going to end. I don't know, Sri Rupa, are you ready? You ready? Okay, so looks like everything is all set up for you. There was while they're getting ready, our schedule got messed up. So, can I continue to just introduce what they're doing? Okay, you can do that after. So, part of what was intended in our schedule earlier, like midday, was to amplify the theme of humility. These devotees have come from faraway places to share with us some songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that give instruction on humility. Similar to those prayers of Brahma's requesting apology or forgiveness from Krishna, there's some similar elements, but the mood of humility and submission, it's an important part of bhakti, important part of chanting nicely. So the system is going to be, someone will explain the song, then Sahari Krishna Kirtan, and then repeat. Another song, explain it like that. So, and then Ananta Govinda and his sister are going to come, and we're going to have a yajna, and it's going to be nice. Everyone will be happy. Go ahead.
Only for tomorrow, for the 64 round chanting, we're going to set it up there on that side, and we'll have divider which will cover the entire area. So that is isolated. Is that okay?
The reason is, I understand, people come to the temple on Sunday. They want to have people to be able to take darshan of the deity while we're also having our japa. And so we're over there and they're over here, and somebody's going to tell them, shh, like that, right? Okay. And the door will be open all day? Deity? Curtain open all day. Haribol. See you tomorrow. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna. So before we begin, I'll just request everyone to face the PowerPoint because the words will be displayed there. She will sing. You can put it in here. So before we sing each bhajan, what we'll do is we'll give a run through, we'll go through the bhajan word by word or line by line so that we can better understand the meaning and the emotions behind every song. So we're going to start with Amara Jivana. And if you look at the PowerPoint, it'll help because I'm basically going to run through the presentation. So this is the fourth song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Dainya section of Sharanagati. Where do I point this for it to work? Yeah, it looks like it's on. This way? Okay, all right, thanks. All right, so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Amara Jivana Sada Pape Rata. He's saying, my life is ever given, committed to sin. And Nahiko Punyera Lesha. Nahiko, there is no trace, not even the slightest trace. We just heard this word in Maraj's class, Lesha. So there isn't the slightest trace of any punya, pious deeds, devotional activities, or even just down to pious activities. So this is a summary line that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives. he opens and says that my life is committed to sinful activities, and then now what he's going to do, he's going to go through a whole list of very specific activities. How is his life given to sin? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is teaching us here that when we come before the Lord and, confess, we should be very specific and very detailed, and we'll see how specific and detailed Bhaktivinoda Thakur gets while he's recognizing all his sinful activities. So he continues to say, Parere udvega, diachi jekoto, diachi jivera klesh. So he's saying that I have caused others great anxiety and have troubled all other souls. Parere udvega. And so for his own benefit, he didn't, he never thinks twice about causing other people anxiety. Then he continues to say, Nija sukha lagi, pape nahi dori. So this is a continuation. He's saying, Nija sukha lagi, for my own happiness, for my enjoyment, pape nahi dori, I didn't even hesitate to perform any sinful activities. There is no embarrassment in causing others harm or performing sinful activities. And he says, Doya hina swartaparo. So doya hina, there's no compassion. And swartaparo means the highest and most important thing is my happiness and my comfort. So, and then he continues to say, Para sukhe dukhi sadan mitya bhasi. Well, the first part is very familiar to everyone because we know that the Vaishnavas, their mood is para dukkha dukhi, that when they see others miserable, then they are miserable themselves. But over here we see Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, para sukhe dukhi. And he continues to say, sada mitya bhashi, which means that he's always telling lies. And then he continues, para dukkha sukha karo. So this means that when he sees other people sad, that actually makes him happy. So it's the opposite affection that a Vaishnava would have. Ashesha kamana hridhi maji mora. So in my heart, ashesha means unlimited, incessant. Kamana, desires. So there are unlimited desires within my heart. And krodhi, damba parayana. So krodhi, we know from Bhagavad Gita that if we have unlimited desires and they're not satisfied, then what happens? We become angry. So he goes into krodh. And then he says damba parayana. We also just, in Maraja's class, we just heard this word ayana, which means refuge, as Maharaj explained. So now he's saying damba parayana. So what is his refuge? Damba. Damba means like impudence or arrogance. That's what his shelter is. And then he continues, Mada matta sada vishaye mohita. So this means I'm maddened and intoxicated by vanity. And vishaye mohita means bewildered by material affairs, worldly affairs. Vishaye mohita means that whatever we see, we want to exploit it, to enjoy it, whatever it may be, anything, at every moment. And he says, Mada mata sada. So this is important. He's saying all the time he's intoxicated by vanity. Like if you wake him up from his sleep, he's intoxicated by vanity. It's not just at certain days of the times of the day. And then he says, himsa garva vibhushana. So this means that himsa and garba, so envy and egotism, or it can also be pride and violence. Our vibhushana means his ornaments. This is very descriptive actually. So we can imagine that we put jewelry on ourselves to beautify ourselves. this jewelry adorns us. But here he's saying that envy and egotism, that they are his ornaments. So he's beautified by envy and egotism. He happily wears these around. Okay, and the next one. Nidra lasyahata sukarya virata. So this means that he is ruined by laziness and sleep. And akarye udyogi ami. He resists all pious deeds. So sukarya virata, sukarya means good deeds. Virata means it's almost like you put all these good deeds on a shelf. You put them aside on a shelf. He's not moved at all by doing any good deeds. And then he says akarye, which is the opposite. And then udyogi is like very enthusiastic. So if there's any bad activities going on, immediately he's enthused and he wants to be involved. Then he continues pratishta lagya shatya acharana. So pratishta lagya, he's, for the sake of fame, he wants fame and reputation. And he's saying shatya acharana, then he'll engage in the practice of deceit. This is deceit. Earlier on, he's talked about always lying, sada mitya bhasha. Now he's talking about being deceitful. So deceitful is whatever's on the inside never comes out. And what does come out is actually, it's a farce, it's not true. Then he continues, lobhata sadakami. So he's victimized by his own greed and always being lustful. Eheno durjana sajjana varjita. So he's calling himself a vile and wicked man. And sajjana varjita means that he's rejected by saintly people, by godly people. So in one sense, this is actually a very miserable position because he's saying that there's no hope for him to get any mercy. That's how vile and wicked he is. We know that we could say sajjana varjita refers to madhyama adhikaris because madhyama adhikaris avoid those who are envious. So he's so vile and wicked and envious that nobody's going to help him. Nobody's going to give him mercy. And then he says he's a constant offender, aparadhi nirantara. And he continues, shubha karya shunya sadhanata mana nana dukkhe jara jara. So he's saying devoid of all good works. He's inclined towards evil, and now he's worn and wasted by various miseries. So this is, we may have heard of this principle of the 4 R's, where you begin with recognition, and after recognizing what you've done, then there's some regret. So in this bhajan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's a long list of recognition, very detailed list, and then he gets to this point where now it's like he's worn out and miserable and wasted. So he's regretting his position. And then in the final one, he says, Bardakya ikuna, upaya vihinas, tatte dina kinchana. So now he's come to an old age, and upaya vihina means there is no means of success or of relief. And this is where his regret is coming in. What can he do? Previously, we may have had all the strength, intelligence, physical strength or mental strength, but now in old age, what can you actually do? So he's regretting, and he says, Bhakti Vinod, Prabhura charane kore dukkha nivedana. So he's submitting his tale of misery at the lotus feet of the Lord. What else can he do at this old age? So in this song, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he's asking us that as we go through this bhajan, when we sing it, if it's helpful, we can see how each of these apply to us in our lives. And if you try it, it's actually a very humbling experience. So our theme for this retreat is humility, chanting with humility. It's a very humbling experience to go back in your life and see, well, how was it that, because of my comfort, I nullified everyone else's comfort around me. So we can go through this bhajan, and with that mood, we'll proceed. Shri Rupa will lead us, and we'll have the PowerPoint. Oh, do you want this one? You want to try this one? Does that one go? Should I push it in? Yeah, let me try. Yeah, just squish it.
আমার জীবন সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো পুণ্যের আলে সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো আমার জীবন সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো পুণ্যের আলেশা আমার জীবন সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো পুণ্যের আলেশ পারের সুখা লাগি পাপে নাহি ধরি দয়াহি না সত পারো সুখ লাগি পাপে নাহি ধরি দয়াহি না সত পারো পারা সুখে দুঃখী সদা মিথ্যাভাষী পারা দুঃখ সুখ করো পারা দুঃখ সুখ করো আমার জীবন সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো পুণ্যের আলেশ আমার জীবন সদা পাপেরতা নাহি গো পুণ্যের আলেশ আশিস কামনা হৃদি মাঝে মোরা ক্রোধিতম্বা পরায়া Madhupati Prabhu is here. He'll speak on the next bhajan, Yamuna Durmati.
They're going to have the lyrics up on the Yamuna Durmati.
He's just pulling it up.
Hare Krishna. So these are the bhajans by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur compiled 50 Bengali songs on Sharanagati, right, in I believe 1893. And on the 6 steps of Sharanagati, starting with Dainya, Atma Nivedana, Goptitva Varna. So this is on the first step of Sharanagati, Dainya. There are 7 songs composed. We just read the translation of Maraja on the 4th song. Now it's the 7th song, Yamuna Durmati. This bhajan, it's a very wonderful bhajan composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he's saying, Yamuna Durmati sansara bhitore podiya achinu ami. Right? That my mind is misdirected intelligence. My mind is looking for pleasures in this material world. Right? So we can all see that if you are looking for pleasure in the material world, our mind is in misdirected intelligence. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is establishing the mood of humility in approaching the Supreme Lord. And that also he is saying that I cannot approach the Supreme Lord just by myself, but kona mohajane, tava nija jane, kona mohajane, pathiya dile tumi. A wicked mind was brought me into this world, O Lord, but one of your pure and elevated devotees has come to bring me out. I have no qualification to come out by myself, except by the mercy of a pure devotee. Kono Mahajan. Right. Go to the next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Daya kori mori patita dekhiya kohila amara giya ohe dina jana suno balo katha ullasito habe hiya. He saw me so fallen and wretched, took pity and came to me saying, O humbled soul, please listen to this good tidings, right? For it will gladden your heart, right? So, what happened? Yeah, okay. Don't. So, this is that this Mahajan, the pure devotees of the Lord, their compassion is such that because of them, they saw me as wicked and fallen and took pity on me and came me saying, O humble soul, suno balo katha, right? Please listen to this good glories of the Supreme Lord. Suno balo katha. Because by hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord, what will happen? Ullasita habe hiya. It will gladden your heart. Your heart will experience joy. Hearing Krishna Katha, like we say, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha, no means the devotees of the Lord, by mutually exchanging Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha, no means the heart becomes gladdened. Tumhare tarite Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So, what Krishna Katha? In that Krishna Katha, they start narrating the glories that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right, appeared in the land of Navadvip to deliver you. He has safely conducted many miserable souls. Right? So, first of all, the appearance of the Supreme Lord as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why is he called Mahaprabhu? Because he comes to experience Mahabhav. Right? In the mood of Srimati Radharani, he comes to experience Mahabhav. So, he is called Mahaprabhu. And he appears in the land of Navadvip. And he safely conducts many miserable souls. So why to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So he also authenticates that he conducts many miserable souls, such as you, across this ocean of material existence. So he takes them, Tomara Tarite, he will also deliver you because he has delivered many other souls. Vedera Pratigya Rakhi Bare Tar. To fulfill the promise of the Vedas, he appears as a son of a Brahmana, Viprasuta, in Rukmavana, golden complexion. Mahaprabhu Name, I already covered, Mahaprabhu Name. Nadia Mataya has descended with his brother, the Avadhut Nityananda, and together they have overwhelmed all of Nadia. So, with divine ecstasy. Nanda Sutta Jini Chaitanya Gosai Nija Nama Kori Dan Tarilo Jagat Tumiyo Jaya Loho Nija Paritran. Sri Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, the son of Nanda, has saved the world by freely distributing his own holy name. Right? By his own holy name, he has saved the world and is freely distributing this holy name. Right. So he's establishing the glories of the holy name. So go also and receive your deliverance from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by taking shelter of this holy name. So this is the entire narration by the Mahajans to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing. That Se Katha Sunya Asiyachi Nath Tumara Charane Tal. That after hearing this narration from these Mahajans, based on their recommendation, I am taking shelter at your lotus feet. Bhakti Vinod Kandiya Kandiya Apane Kahine Bole. Bhakti Vinod, and in what mood? He has come weeping to the souls of the lotus feet and tells the story of his life. So here we see the mood in which he surrenders, not, first of all, in the mood of humility he surrenders, in the mood of not that, oh, I have come to you just on my own efforts. No, by the mercy of pure devotees. So recognizing the pure devotees and then with humility hearing from the pure devotees the Krishna Katha and taking the process of that deliverance, hearing the glories of the holy name and ultimately surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
प्रभु है ए मोना दुर्मति संसार ভিতরে পড়িয়াছি আমি হে মোনা দুর্মতি সংসার ভিতরে পড়িয়াছি संसार भी भरतारे रुक्मवर्ण विप्रसूता तेरा प्रतिज्ञा राखी भरतारे रुक्मवर्ण विप्रसूता दे तेरा प्रतिज्ञा राखी भरतारे रुक्मवर्ण विप्रसूता तेरा प्रतिज्ञा राखी भरतारे रुक्मवर्ण विप्रसूता महाप्रभु नामे नदिया बताया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया बताया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया बताया महाप्रभु नामे नदिया बताया संगे भाय अवधूता संगे भाई अवधूता मोना दुर्मति संसार ভিতরে করিয়াছিনু আমি মোনা দুর্মতি সংসার ভিতরে नंद सुता जिनी चैतन्य गोसाई निज नाम कोरिधान नंद सुता जिनी चैतन्य गोसाई निज नाम कोरिधान नंद सुता जिनी चैतन्य गोसाई निज
more bhajan, and Ananta Govinda Prabhu will explain Shri Krishna Sankirtane Jadi. Please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the mood and spirit of the retreat, chanting with humility, I'm going to attempt to say something, but it's very humbling because of so many exalted devotees. Shri Krishna Sankirtane Jadi Manasa Tuhar Parama Jatane Tahi Loba Adhikar. If you desire to engage in Shri Krishna's Kirtan, I'm sorry, I can't even see. Can it get bigger? No. Well, then with great care attain the required qualification. You can go to the next one. I have it on my phone too, I think. Chinadika hina dina akinchana char apane manohavi sada chadi ahankar. You should give up all false pride and always consider yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, and more humble than a blade of grass, which is pretty apt. Ultimately, chanting the holy name is all the mercy of the Lord. And what qualification could we have to chant the holy name? What qualification is there actually that you could show to the Lord if he were here and just walked off the altar and said to you, okay, let me see your certification? What could you give him? Could you say, oh, my voice is beautiful? He has everything. He is everything. So what qualification could we have? So ultimately, we have to give up all false pride, because in front of the Lord, none of it matters. Vriksha sama guna karobi sadana prati himsa tyaji anye karobi palan. If you should practice forgiveness like that of a tree, and giving up violence toward other living beings, you should protect and maintain them. It's very important. When we're chanting the holy name, sometimes we can actually become offensive. It's for us, when we chant the holy name, we chant the Shri Krishna Chaitanya Panchatattva Maha Mantra, because we can actually become offensive, and this absolves us. So in that mood also, while we're chanting the holy name as representatives of the name, we should also be very forgiving. Jivana nirvai, ana udvega na dibe para upakare nijasukha pasaribe. In the course of passing your life, you should never give anxiety to others, but rather do good to them while forgetting about your own happiness. So ultimately, while we're here, rather than to give anxiety to anyone else, rather than to be a burden to anyone else, what we should be doing is trying to give them the greatest pleasure, which is chanting the holy name. I used to be on Rath Yatra, and we'd chant and chant, and at first people would be looking at us a little crazy, and then ultimately they'd be, and then what are they doing? And you'd see how much pleasure they get from it, and they didn't even know why. But ultimately, the greatest gift, the greatest thing that we could be doing is chanting the holy name. And if we try to not give anybody any anxiety and just to chant the holy name and give them that greatest gift from Sri Krishna Chaitanya, then ultimately our lives will be complete. Hello, O Sarvagune Guni Mahasai Pratishta Chadi Koro Amani Hridoy. Even if one is a great soul, possessing all good qualities, one should abandon all desires for fame and honor and make one's heart humble. We get a chance to have association with so many great devotees, and the thing that they all have in common is that they've abandoned all desire for fame. His Holiness Romapada Maraja asked us to come, and at first we were thinking, you know, there are 1 million people who would be better suited to do this. And he was, you know, very sincere. And then he kept saying, please, if you can do this service. And he says, you know, it's my service to ask you. And I was thinking, you could just tell me whatever you wanted me to do and I'd have to do it. Like that's the rules. But it was, he was always, and I've known him for pretty much all my life, conducted himself in that way. It's always a mood of humility, and ultimately he could be on TV somewhere, you know, talking about all of the things that he's done, but all of our great personalities have abandoned the desires for fame and honor, and their hearts are humble. And ultimately, that's the mood, and that's the way we should follow, and especially in chanting the holy name, because again, what fame is there? Oftentimes we do kirtan and people are like, oh, that was really wonderful, but I can barely speak because I have a cold, and I know that if I were like on American Idol or something, I would be kicked off before it got anywhere. But ultimately the holy name manifests, and it's such a wonderful thing that it happens irrespective of our conditions. And so it's the mercy of the Lord that allows us to engage in that, and it has nothing to do with our qualifications. So we should abandon our desires for fame and honor. Krishna adhisthana sarva jive jana sada karobi samana save adara sarvada. Knowing that Lord Krishna resides within all living creatures, one should, with great respect, consistently show honor to all beings. So we were actually at Rath Yatra with His Holiness Sachinandan Swami in Puri, and he kept emphasizing the day before that it was very important to know that everybody there, all these millions of people are there just to see Lord Jagannath, and Krishna is in their heart. So we should be happy when somehow inadvertently somebody steps on your foot, or when somehow you get pushed on the floor, and if you're lucky enough to get trampled on, then this is the mercy of Lord Jagannath. And I was thinking, this is advanced thinking, but ultimately, this is the mood that Krishna resides in all living creatures. And so I was once hearing a seminar about writing books, and they were saying that all of the people that you create, all of these characters are your children, and you can't hate them. And it's very important to understand that nobody is innately bad. Nobody's doing something for no reason. So everybody's playing their part. So even when we're reading Mahabharata and we see Duryodhana is acting very interestingly, this is all because the Leela of the holy name is playing out right now. So Krishna is in the heart of all living entities, and everybody has a part to play. Ultimately, we may be a little bit more covered than others, but it's very important to understand that everybody has a specific part to play, and we have to respect that. We have to respect that Krishna is in the heart of every living being, and nobody's doing something that's innately bad. From their perspective, they're serving somehow, and that's how we should see it. Danya doya anye mana pratishta varjan kari gune hoy Karoha Kirtan. By presenting these four qualities, humility, mercifulness, respect towards others, and the renunciation of desires for prestige, one becomes virtuous. In such a state, you may sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. I remember being at a Rath Yatra festival with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, and my mridanga playing was absolutely amazing. It was the best because I knew everything. I was about 13 years old, and I was learning so many things, and I was thinking, I'm going to show everybody everything that I've learned today. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj looked at me and he says, okay, Ananta, we'll have 2 kirtan parties, like in Chaitanya Charitamrita they had so many. So you go have a kirtan party here, and we'll have one here behind Lord Jagannath, with Lord Jagannath. And I was thinking, okay, this is a good idea. So in Gita Nagari, when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was there, all the devotees were there. And then if you weren't there, you were somewhere else, but you were probably alone, which was my case. So he told me to go down the road, and I had a kirtan party of 1. And then he sent another devotee who quickly abandoned our kirtan party. And so I had this one-man kirtan party, and I was thinking, well, nobody's going to benefit from this. So I tried to join the kirtan party again, and Mara said, you should go. And so that party of 1, because in my mind it was all about ego. In my mind I was thinking, what this kirtan needs is a great mridanga player, and that's going to be me. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Lord Jagannath didn't need me to manifest from Jamaica Queens to go to Gita Nagari to play mridanga for him. He didn't need to come out of his temple in Puri. He doesn't need, he wants. And so the qualities of somebody who Krishna wants to see are humility, mercifulness, respect towards others, and the renunciation of desires for prestige, which is, I had 4 out of 4 canceled out. I had none of those. And so it's quite important that when we're chanting the holy name, that we really try to maintain that attitude of humility. Bhakti Vinod Kandi Bole Prabhu Pai Heno Adhikar Kabe Dibe He Amai. Weeping, Bhakti Vinod submits his prayer at the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, when will you give me the qualification for possessing attributes such as these? I've heard many different purports on Bhakti Vinod, and a lot of them were saying that Bhakti Vinod, of course, was a pure devotee, and he was far beyond what we can understand. So he was taking on this mood for us. But I, in my heart, I really see him weeping, because he says it in every song, but I see him weeping just to try to develop a deep attachment for the holy name. It's insatiable. The more that you have an attachment for the holy name, the deeper you go, and the more that you want an attachment for the holy name. So we should all just embody that mood. And I mean, he was a government official who wanted to quit his job. I identify with that. I am a government official. I want to quit my job. They will not let me quit my job. But I'm weeping about the wrong things. So we try to use everything in the service. And so now we should all weep for me not being able to quit my job, but also to develop some attachment for the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Shri Krishna Sankirtane jadi manasa tohara paramartane tahi labho adhikar. Shri Krishna Sankirtane jadi manasa
here, but after I speak, after a few minutes. So Ananta Prabhu, you ready? Okay. So. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming this evening, and we're going to go into the next phase of the program, and this would be a yajna, a fire sacrifice. So we're going to continue the process of sacrifice, and it's also going to be on the holy names, and we're going to facilitate the purification of the holy names with, also invoking the presence of the deity in the form of a fire. So I would just want to speak about it for a couple of minutes so that we could meditate in a proper perspective, and then we'll continue. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Namo Aniruddhaya Hishikesha Indriyatmane Nama Paramahamsaya Purnaya Nibratatmane Swarga Pavarga Dvaraya Nityam Suchi Sade Namaha Nama Hiranyaviryaya Chaturhotraya Tantave. Hare Krishna. So I was just reflecting on what I could share about the yajna, and then I realized that the stage has already been set by the so many devotees, Ananta Prabhu, his sister, and then the other devotees and Maharaj, as I was listening to the class online. The very first day, when someone walks into a temple of our movement or a program in our movement, one will come in touch with the sadhya, the goal, and also the process, which is the sadhana. The goal of Krishna consciousness is being defined by the primary acharya in Krishna consciousness, who is Srila Rupa Goswami. We are Rupanugas. He says, Anya Bilachita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavratam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, Bhakti Uttama. So Uttama Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti is the goal of the process of Krishna consciousness. And then he says that the process of Krishna consciousness is also inhibited by two elements, Jnana Karmadi, Anavratam. The motive for mukti or liberation of suffering from this world, or wanting to attain liberation due to being able to come in touch with material nature and understanding that this is not a place for us to be in. That's an obstacle. Obstacle number two, Jnana Karmadi Anavratam, material desires. So one who has come in touch with Krishna consciousness comes to this realization that the process of Krishna consciousness is extraordinarily simple. What is complicated about chanting 16 rounds in a day? 1,440 minutes, and we are asked to offer approximately 120. Not much. Then what is complicated about Krishna consciousness is our lifestyles. The lifestyles are very complicated for devotees, and they find it very difficult to implement the simple instruction given by Mahaprabhu. And the lifestyle is complicated because of desires, Jnana Karmadi, Anavratam. So the biggest complication of devotional service is unwanted material desires, because we are in touch with identities that are not related to Krishna in many ways. So the upadhi of Krishna consciousness is to be a servant of God. Krishna Anushilanam. Krishna Anushilanam is not possible with many branched out desires for separated energies, which is the main obstacle of Krishna consciousness. In fact, I mentioned in a previous class, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj mentioned this in a class in the Bhaktivedanta manner. He said, devotees have a complication with life. They don't have a complication with executing Krishna consciousness, because it's a simple process given by Prabhupada. So how do we negate the problem that we have? Because the holy names are pure, the soul is pure, the jiva is pure, and the holy names are pure. So what is this wall between the holy names and the jiva? This wall is technically called anartha, that which has no meaning in being able to give us the taste of pure bhakti rasa. So how do we remove these anarthas? The anarthas themselves are to be removed through a process given by Mahaprabhu, which is what all our devotees were talking about, which is Trinadepi Sunichena, Taroriva Sahishnuna, Amani Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. This is the process of chanting of the holy names. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. That verse defines it. Then, how do we implement Trinadepi Sunichena? that is where the deity form of Sri Narasimhadev comes into the picture. Very unusual. We have a very, very beautiful form of Sri Sri Radha Shyamsundar, and then the Lord manifests himself as Narasimhadev in an extraordinarily fierce feature. So it's almost contradictory to what is being presented, and that sometimes throws devotees off. They take some time for them to assimilate both and to accept that one is the same as the other. So what is the specific rupa of Narasimhadev? What is the function of Narasimhadev in the life of a chanter of the holy names? The chanter of the holy names is aspiring for Shuddha Bhakti. They are aspiring for Krishna Anushilanam. They want to go to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Govinda. So what is Narasimhadev going to do for us? Right? We want to know. The Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, is giving us clues. Narasimhadev is very specifically manifest by devotees to change the function of time. The influence of time is so complex that we are exposed to environments which are so not conducive for devotional service. By invoking the presence of Narasimhadev, the Lord manifests his presence and destroys the influence of time. The influence of time that prevents a chanter of the holy names from becoming absorbed is being thwarted, destroyed by the presence of Lord Narasimhadev. This was seen in the 7th canto, where Prahlad Maharaj was facing difficulties from his own father, from his people. He had difficulties of all kinds. So that was the time factor. Then he manifests and invokes the presence of Lord Narasimhadev by surrender. Trinadapi sunichena tarori vasaishnuna. How does he manifest it? He accepts the environment. He completely accepts it, saying, Krishna, you have given me this environment. And he continues chanting. That acceptance invokes and spiritualizes even the environment. Lord Narasimha then appears to completely destroy the time factor that is preventing a soul from progressing on the path of Shuddha Bhakti. So that is his function in our movement. The Sri Vaishnavas, the followers of Srila Ramanujacharya, they have to approach Narasimhadev with great care, great fear. But in our movement, Narasimhadev is extraordinarily benevolent because we approach him and he takes on the mood of Mahaprabhu. You see, he carries the mood of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he's so benevolent when he looks upon us. You see, there are devotees who say that Narasimhadev likes pizza, and they make pizza. Okay? I mean, there are devotees who say they have so many different pastimes in Mayapur because the Lord is so wonderfully manifest. There's one very beautiful pastime given by Pankajangri Prabhu. He said that one day he forgot to turn off the lights in the pujari, in the altar of Narasimhadev in Mayapur. And then he was sleeping and he suddenly found the Lord next to him. Okay, he said, you turned off the light and you're sleeping here? I couldn't sleep. Okay, I'm here. So Narasimhadev in our movement is so very approachable. So approachable, incredibly approachable. This is not the case in any other parampara. So we are benedicted in multifarious ways by coming in touch with Mahaprabhu, that we can even approach the most fierce form of the Lord. He is Mahakala's approachable deity. He is Mahakala himself. He has complete control over the time factor where he destroys at the end of creation. That is Narasimhadev's potency, because that is the amount of fierceness with which he manifests himself. And he is approached by our devotees with such ease, such ease. This was the reason why our acharyas gave. And there's a beautiful, beautiful set of verses given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because we're talking about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And those verses are phenomenal. And those set of verses practically define the role of Narasimhadev in the life of a chanter of the holy name who is aspiring for shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Govinda. Okay? So what we would be doing is in that tradition, keeping that tradition, we're going to be starting off with a Narasimha Yajna. This Narasimha Yajna would be started off with, I would be chanting 21 repetitions of a very, very beautiful verse. I'd just like to talk about the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam before we go. Narasimha Leela is in the 7th canto. But the most beautiful verse glorifying the Lord appears in the 5th canto. The 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is full of mantras. So 5th canto, you have prayers offered by Prahlad Maharaj to Narasimhadev. And the most powerful prayer, which the Lord really likes, because this is a prayer for removal of anarthas. This is practically a mantra which would take the chanter and allow them to pass through the stage of anartha nivrti, getting rid of material desires in the heart, which is the whole purpose of this gathering. So I'm going to read the mantra. I would like you all to repeat after me, because this would be the mantra that's going to be offered. And I'm going to be doing it 21 times. And then Ananta Prabhu, wherever he, I think it's Mother Achyuta, I'm going to give a cue after 21 times, and then you could just lead the Nrsimha Pranam, and then after which the holy names again, okay? So I'm just going to be reading this, yeah. It's, verse is 5:18:8. Yeah, 5:18:8. If those of you who want to make a note of it, this is a very powerful verse for passing through the stage of anartha nivrti. So please repeat after me, because this would be the offering that we would be making, and you would not hear it after some time. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namaste Jastejase. Aviravirbhava. Vajranaka Vajjadramshtra. Karmasayan. Randaya Randaya. Tamo Grasagasa. Om Swaha. Abhayam Abhayam Atmani. Bhuyishta Om Kshraum. So this would be the verse, and this is 5:18:8 for those of you who want to make a note. These are wonderful prayers for you to begin your chanting process. You could chant a few times, and then you could start the Harinam every day. Okay? So this is what we would be doing.